Good evening, I'm Ryan Broom with the Thursday, December 21st edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, and a route taxi. This afternoon, a total of 14 people were injured in the accident, which occurred around 20 minutes to 3. The 4 officers on board the tender were on their way to a grass fire. Mr. Gaskin says some people seem to be simply ignoring the siren.
At this time, especially in this season, where there's an increased number of road traffic accidents and other incidents, we are again appealing to the public to be on the lookout for the fire appliances as well as ambulances and police vehicles with sirens. We're having extreme difficulty in negotiating the traffic with vehicles not responding. We are quite aware that it's going to take a little while to pick up the sound or see the lights. While we are doing our part, we ask the public to assist us and look out for us as we travel.
And Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Roland Cobbler gave details about the injuries sustained.
These injuries varied from head, neck, shoulders. 5 of these persons were transported to the QH by ambulance for medical attention, while the remaining injured persons were treated here at the scene by Dr. Chantel Youngboys and 3 medical doctors from the QAH. One fire truck responded to the scene.
A concerted effort is being made to drastically improve the visitor experience at the Grantley Adams International Airport as Barbados anticipates another record year of tourist arrivals. Among the areas where the level of service is being raised is the operation of Red Caps, which is now under new management. Kent Jerson has that story.
Tourist arrival figures suggest Barbados remains a popular destination.
We expect that our long-stay visitors will be in excess of 650,000. Another record. We also expect 830,000 cruise arrivals. That too is a record.
And every effort is being made to ensure the trend continues by raising the level of service provided.
We are moving forward apace through the Ministry of the Civil Service and specifically the Personnel Administration Department to offer short-term contracts to recently retired immigration officers and customs officers so that we can deal with the peak periods of travel in our arrival zone.
The improvements also extend to the Red Cap or Porter service, an area the Grantley Adams International Airport admits has been a bit of a challenge.
We recognize that there is still a role for an airport porter service, and that it is in fact one of the unique aspects of travel into Barbados. But from all sides, there was general dissatisfaction with the quality of the services provided and with the level of the services provided.
The operation is now managed by Platinum Services, well known for its airport VIP offerings. It has introduced a number of incentives for the porters, along with professional development and training in service delivery. The result is expected to be a better experience for their customers.
Give them a chance, give them an opportunity to prove that they are a better, a more improved, a service-oriented, I am tourism product that you and I can be proud of.
And in keeping with its belief that Red Caps are an important part of the tourism industry, Platinum Services is lobbying the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association to include an Airport Porter of the Year award as part of its annual recognition of outstanding workers in the sector. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
Thanks, Kent. Well, in some additional airport-related news, if you have an idea for a viable business at the Grantley Adams International Airport, management there wants to hear from you. That's a message from Acting Chief Executive Officer of GAIA Incorporated, Neville Boxhill. He was speaking at the launch of Platinum Services Airport Baggage Service.
You may see at Grantley Adams International Airport an opportunity either to improve upon an existing service or to create a new service here at the airport. Let me assure you that the airport is open for business and we want to hear from you. Send us a proposal or come in and bounce ideas off of us. If it is possible, we will find a way to make it work with you to our mutual benefit.
And Mr. Boxell adds that there is a lot in store for the airport.
There are a lot of new developments planned here at Grantley Adams, developments necessary to facilitate wider economic growth in this country. And we are committed to fund as much of these developments as possible from commercial revenues. So here's your opportunity to partner with us here at Gaia as we together rise higher.
In other news now, fewer city shoppers have fallen victim to criminals this Yuletide season. That's according to Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith. He believes the drop in crime is due in large part to an increased police presence in Bridgetown. More now in this report.
It's not unusual to see more police officers on the beat, particularly in Bridgetown, at this time of year. It is usually as a result of an influx of shoppers who tend to attract more criminals seeking to make off with ill-gotten cash and other valuables. This year is no different, as police stepped up patrols in the city and other commercial areas. According to Police Commissioner Tyrone Griffith, the force is already seeing the benefits.
The increased patrols has impacted positively in terms of the incidence of crime in the city, which has been very low. No real crimes attributed to the city area, with people shopping and so forth. That does not mean that we're still asking that persons visiting the city be mindful of the possibility that there are people who would look to relieve them of their property.
Commissioner Griffith made the comments after doing the customary walk through the city with a number of other high-ranking members of the force. The walk began at police headquarters on Robert Street and headed towards Swan Street, which was bustling with shoppers and vendors. The commissioner took the opportunity to speak with several vendors before leading his entourage onto Broad Street, making a stop at Cape Shepherd. The procession also went to Hero Square to inspect the force's Christmas tree, one of several trees decorated by the Royal Commonwealth Society. Despite the fall in crime, Commissioner Griffith offered several safety tips to those who may be heading into Bridgetown to do some last-minute shopping.
To still be very aware of your surroundings, don't expose cash and cell phones and those things in public, and generally be aware of your surroundings and understand that crime can happen.
The 45-minute walk ended back at police headquarters. Commissioner Griffith says while the increased policing in December is not new, the force will continue to ensure that it is done right. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. Well, the latest High Court ruling regarding the proposed Hyatt Hotel is a setback, but not the death knell for the project. The assessment from Barry Gill, Queen's Counsel, attorney for Vision Development Incorporated, the company responsible for building the property. Yesterday, Justice Sonia Richards upheld the 3 grounds on which attorney-at-law David Commissiong challenged the work at Bay Street, one of which affirmed that he does have legal standing in the matter. But Mr. Gill explains that this does not in fact mean the project has to stop.
There's no injunction in place that prevents the development. Mr. Commissiong had filed an application previously seeking an interim order or an injunction to prevent the development taking place, and he voluntarily withdrew that some months ago. So there's no impediment in the way of development proceeding.
Meanwhile, Mr. Commissiong says in bringing the action, he wanted to ensure that the proper procedures were followed when permission was granted to build the property on the site.
There's nothing legally to stop the developer from commencing the construction, but if the developer does that, they run the risk that if it is finally determined by a court of law that the permission was wrongfully given and the permission is struck down, that whatever resources they would have put into commencing that construction would be in vain and they would lose those resources.
The Barbadian diaspora in the United States has been praised for prevailing against the odds and being a fitting example to others. Tourism Minister Richard Seeley made the remarks at the launch of the Celebrating Barbadians in the United States of America book at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center. That text chronicles and highlights the contributions which Barbadian immigrants made in the U.S.
I remember speaking at this event, or an event similar to this in Tampa, and making the point that, you know, those very simple words really say it all in terms of what the diaspora has been doing for Barbados now for a long time. Bringing credit, being a credit, not a debit, a credit to the nation wherever you go. And that's our national pledge. And I think it is, of course, wonderful that we have a fine example of exactly what that is all about.
Meanwhile, proceeds from book sales are to be split between the Scholarship Fund for Barbadians living in South Florida and the Hospice Project in St. David's. Mr. Seeley believes similar books should be written about Barbadians who have settled in other regions such as the UK and the Caribbean.
I too look forward to further publications. We can update the two existing books as well. You can have more recent, you're going to have other editions presumably going forward. But the UK one I know is going to be a challenging one in terms of trying to tie down particularly some of those historic figures. But it is an undertaking that truly, I believe, has to happen.
Well, we take a pause here, but we'll have more news after the break.
Upgrade to Digicell's Quick Pick Bundles. Save big on data. Get data and get unlimited WhatsApp messaging and Digicel Talk. Pick a 1-day bundle, a 7-day bundle, or for the best value, a 30-day bundle. Save money every single day. Pick the bundle that's right for you. Go to My Digicel app or dial *246 to buy a Quick Pick bundle today. Digicel.
Dance with me into the new year. This Old Year's night, join us at Kensington Oval for Q-Dance. Doors open at 8 p.m. Early bird tickets, $30. General tickets, $35. At the door, $40. DJ King, Scorpion, and many more party favors. Dance with me at Q-Dance this Old Year's night.
You can dance, every dance with the guy who gives you the eye, let him hold you tight.
Welcome back. Well, Barbados needs a set of professional organizations geared towards supporting and promoting the cultural industries. This is the belief of Senator John Watson. He says, for example, there should be a national theater funded by the government and the private sector.
Culture, Madam President, cannot be supported in the same way that heavy industry could be supported. You're not going to, I mean, when Senator Wells spoke, he spoke about a theater with 100 people. 100 people cannot support 20 actors in a movie or 20 actors in a play. Many of the plays that we go to, many of these films that we see, a lot of those people are not paid. They do it voluntarily because the company cannot afford to pay them. So they do it voluntarily because of their love for the particular area.
Now, Senator Watson also believes cultural practitioners are different from people in other sectors and should therefore not be treated in the same way.
When Nicholas Branca sits at a piano and performs and creates music, that doesn't come from Pythagoras' theorem. It doesn't come from any economic theory. It doesn't come from knowing quadratic equations. That comes from your soul. That comes from inside. And there's no way that anybody could put a value on that type of thing. It's the kind of area of occupation that is different from regular kinds of occupations that we need. And therefore, to understand that industry, we have to understand the people who are involved in it and involve them in the decision making.
25 countries now have honorary consuls in Barbados. This is according to Dean of the Consular Corps, Selwyn Smith. Mr. Smith was speaking during the annual Consular Corps Christmas party at Southern Palms Hotel. He says the Consular Corps was established 23 years ago, even though the first honorary consul was appointed back in 1977, some 40 years ago. Mr. Smith says the Corps continues to provide crucial assistance to the Foreign Affairs Ministry as well as several other government agencies.
These lifelong commitments surely indicate the great dedication that these people have given to this kind of service. Although many people still do not know what honorary consuls do and believe that it is merely a title, and then misconstrue what honorary means. The honorary consuls, however, continue to give of their best and to strengthen relations with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Government of Barbados, and we've sought to strengthen the Corps and develop stronger relations with the diplomatic corps and the wider nation.
And Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Maxine McLean praised the diplomatic corps and the invaluable work that it does.
While we have what I would describe as longevity in the consular corps, especially our honorary consuls, we often have to participate in what I might describe as a revolving door. But what happens as time goes by very quickly is that while we may lose members of the diplomatic corps, we gain friends as they return to their capitals or to their new posting.
Another Barbadian has 100 reasons to celebrate this Christmas. She is Muriel Downey of Wayville Avenue, Black Rock, St. Michael. The birthday girl celebrated her milestone with Acting Governor General Sir Philip Graves, family and friends at the Black Rock Cultural Center this morning. Faye Wood is one of her 3 caretakers. She says Miss Downey, who had no children, was married and her husband passed away years ago. She says the former shopkeeper and laborer takes her daily devotions to God very seriously.
She's very articulate, analytical, one who loves to speak about her God. Actually, she's the one who really made me aware of Psalm 91, and I have been using that psalm in times of trial. I have not heard her repeated it recently. However, I still remind her of it when it comes to her eating habits and so on. Any day you serve her broccoli and caviar, she would not get excited about that. But if you can give her a good pigtail and some yam and okra, she say to you, oh, I have good food today. But when it comes to the other delicacies and fine dining, she's not for that.
Can't beat those pigtails. Well, Ms. Wood says Ms. Downey, who is an amputee, is still fairly independent as she lives alone.
We wanted to move her. She said no. She has to spend her 100th birthday in her home. So we honor as much as possible any request that we think that she can handle alone. She does not want to move from there as yet. But if need be, we will have to see how that goes with her.
This is the time of year for spreading cheer, and the Lions Club of Barbados South is doing just that with its annual hamper distribution. And when we visited the Cuthbert Pilgrim Memorial Hall, where members were busy packing those items for families in need, Chair of the Public Service, Welfare and Health Committee, Corliss Weeks-Grisette, says they will be giving out a total of 55 hampers.
We normally do a walkthrough in the community so that we could identify persons who really need these hampers. And we are not only working with persons within the Christchurch community, we are working into St. Michael, and persons perhaps from their church, they could identify someone within their church that need a hamper.
The club also made a donation to the HIV/AIDS Food Bank. Manager Stacia Whitaker says the service organization has been providing food items to the bank since 2010, and they are very thankful.
We are always very happy that a service club such as the Lions Club South is in support of our efforts at the HIV Food Bank. Our aim at the food bank is to provide food and nutritional support to persons living with HIV and AIDS, and therefore the only way we can really do that effectively is with the continued support of the general public and service clubs such as these. And therefore we are thankful, and we encourage you to continue to support us.
Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
Can you crack the Quartz code? Spend $799 or more and you could win $15,000. Check Quartz on Facebook and Instagram or your digital phone for your weekly Crack the Quartz code clue. Each week until December 22nd, you could get a chance to crack the safe. But to crack the 3-digit code, you must know the clue. So listen out. Plus, the Quartz Crack the Code crew may be on the road near you where you could win cash and prizes on the spot. Quartz, bringing value home.
If you've been living in pain and you're tired of trying products that just don't work, you are not alone. Try Omega XL. This natural anti-inflammatory is effective at relieving pain and the symptoms of inflammation. Omega XL is the all-natural anti-inflammatory that has more available omega-3s than regular fish oil. Experience results you can feel. Now available in Jamaica. Visit your local pharmacy or health food store today. Start putting an end to your pain with Omega XL.
Welcome back. We're topping news from the region tonight. St. Lucia's Governor General, Dame Perlette Louise, has announced that she will be leaving office at the end of the year. The Governor General made the announcement in a nationally televised address late yesterday. Dame Perlette did not disclose the reason behind her decision to step down from office. It is, however, widely speculated that the departure of the island's longest-serving Governor General was requested by the Alain Chastanet-led government. Earlier this year, Prime Minister Chastanet refused to be drawn into a discussion on whether the GG had been asked to resign, saying instead that it was very unusual to have a Governor General in position for such a long time. Dame Perlette Louise was sworn in on September 17, 1997. And Guyana's President David Granger is placing emphasis on education in his bid to ensure all citizens can contribute to the country's development. Kristen McClingham tells us more.
In order to bridge the divide between the hinterland and coastal communities, there must be public facilities available for those in the riverine and far-flung areas to enjoy, and therefore educational needs are at the top of the priority list for the government. That's according to President Granger.
Because we believe that if every child is given equal access to education, that child will become a full, developed, educated citizen. If we deprive that child of education, that child is likely to be kept behind. So if you want to keep up with the rest of the country, education is the key.
The president also pointed out that while education is top on his administration's agenda, the government is cognizant of the fact that in order for residents and their children to fulfill their dreams, they also need to get jobs and benefit from full employment.
We don't want to see young people dropping out of school, and we don't want to see people without work. Too many young people are dropping out of school. And what will happen when you drop out of school? You can't count, you can't read, you can't write, you can't spell. Nobody wants to employ you. You can't get a job. That's why we want every child in school.
President Granger told the Pomeroon residents that the only way for any person to obtain full employment is to grasp the opportunity to get educated. He added that by making the most of educational opportunities, many persons can become entrepreneurs and sustain themselves and their communities as well.
You all are sitting on a gold mine here. The agricultural products of the Pomeroon-Suriname region could feed the Eastern Caribbean. So it is through education that will provide employment, and through employment we provide that enterprising spirit which will make you rich.
The Police Federation, the organization that represents the rank-and-file members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, or JCF, has once again rejected the latest wage offer from the Andrew Holness-led administration. Following the collapse of wage talks yesterday, the Federation, which called for the intervention of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, says the offer was sluggish, stubborn, and unreasonable. In a text message to the rank-and-file members of the JCF, the Federation disclosed that the cops were offered Jamaican $19,800 before tax for members to work on public holidays. The Federation said the offer was rejected because it was, quote, embarrassing and inadequate. Last week, more than 12,000 rank-and-file members stayed off the job to show their dissatisfaction with the wage offer. National Security Minister Robert Montague is appealing to the cops not to take industrial action during the Christmas period because of displeasure with the wage talks. And the Guyanese national, who spent 3 decades in jail in New York on a wrongful rape and robbery conviction, is heading home to Brooklyn for Christmas. Yesterday, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office said that it moved to vacate the conviction of 47-year-old Mark Denny and dismissed the indictment after an investigation revealed faulty witness identification. Later in the day, Denny appeared before Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice Matthew Diemick, who made his exoneration official. After the decree, it was said Denny smiled and waved to his family and friends who filled the court gallery. He says he's overwhelmed, thinking of what he'll do next to get his life back on track. Denny was the 24th person to have his conviction vacated by the Brooklyn District Attorney's Conviction Review Unit. Well, sports news is just ahead with Sean Green, but first, a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Do not use large displays or posters that would cover the windows of your business. This crime prevention tip is brought to you in association with the Royal Barbados Police Force.